Starting.
You're good.
Hello, good evening, and salutations to the internets. Tonight is a particularly different angle for people I know. This is going to be a combination of a reunification, catching up, slash the promotion of a really heartfelt movement, which I think will motivate a lot of people to get out of their own way and sort of follow that nudge in a direction, whatever the direction may be. Tonight we have a young lady by the name of Chauniqua Major, UCF alum, go Knights, who really saw something that she thought needed to be fixed and decided to take matters into her own hands because she didn't see any apparatus in place to make a change. Long and short, she's not just into food as a restaurateur, former PR person, but she's actually taken the extra few steps, and created an entire initiative, which, in my opinion, should be a movement. I wouldn't be surprised if it does turn into one, to feed the masses, figuratively and literally. Shaniqua, welcome to People I Know. This is episode number 4. It's awesome that this is coming at
Hey.
such an opportune time.
Well, thanks for having me. This is very cool.
No. Okay, so at first, introduction, man. Tell the people about yourself. This is a live broadcast. This is going to be to YouTube. No pressure whatsoever. There are only a few million people around the world who may have access to this material. So,
Oh, that's fine. I love people. This is good.
yeah.
I'm Major. Well, Chauniqua Major, but I go by Major. And I am what they call a foodpreneur. So I love food and I create businesses that are centered around them. So I'm a foodpreneur. I went to UCF, as he mentioned, and I studied advertising and public relations. And I'm one of the few people that actually get degrees and then go and get a job with their degree. So I'm very thankful for that. I've been working in PR for about 6 or 7 years now. And I recently created a company called Good Through Food. And as he mentioned briefly before, I did it to fill a need. So I'm just out here creating businesses surrounded by food.
Okay, so food seems basic. That being said, everyone eats, not everyone loves food. When did you first discover you actually had a passion for food? You speak
Right.
about it almost as if it is art, but also from the stance of a business. When did this first happen?
Sure.
Where did that spark occur?
That reminds me of what's that movie? Brown Sugar. It's like, when did you
When's your
fall in
first
love
fall in love with
with
hip hop?
Ah, man, I fell in love with food. Actually, on my first day at my first job out of college, like my real deal first job in PR, I had a coworker named Ashley, and she brought me a cupcake from this bakery, and I ate it, and I was like, "What is this? This is not like my mom is an amazing baker, but it was the first time I actually had something sweet that I really enjoyed outside of my house." And it was something about the flavors and the chocolate and how I knew it wasn't homemade, but it tasted homemade. That really just like stirred up a lot in me and just made me fall in love with food. And I mean, I think like most people, until you're exposed to something new, you're used to what you know, and you're somewhat satisfied with it because you don't know there's more out there. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I really got introduced to food, and it started with a cupcake. And here I am now. And I mean, to me, food is an art, but it's more than that as well. It's a connector, which I think I mentioned to you before. It doesn't matter where you're from. Everybody eats. And depending on where you're from, you either eat too much or you don't have enough. So it's this commodity, but also a luxury. And it's so many things and so many people. So it can be used for good, we're having a great day, let's order cupcakes. Or it can be used for bad. People use it, when they're really sad, and then they start eating a million cupcakes. So it's just amazing how this one thing called food, served in many forms and fashions, can really change somebody's life. So yeah, I love it.
Okay, so let's get to the suffix of, what was that, foodpreneur?
Yeah.
Okay, so where did the preneur part come in? When did you discover that you had that itch? And more importantly, when did you decide that you wanted to go out and scratch it?
Yeah, long story short, I actually got tired of food at my other job, my previous job. So I recently got a new
I
position in
rebuke
another
thee in the
agency.
name of Satan. What did you just say?
I got tired of food.
Okay.
Yeah, tired of food. So it's hard for people to imagine when you don't work with chefs every day that
Mhm.
you are going to restaurant openings multiple times a week, sometimes having to taste 14 courses in a night. And I mean, to the point where like your stomach hurts. It's all good, but it's so much food. You know what I mean? Like you get, I knew all the food terms. I knew all the chefs. I knew who won Top Chef before they announced it because we had a client that was on the show. I mean, it was all consuming and I was over it. But I knew I wanted to launch a business because I've always had that entrepreneur itch, as you call it. My mom, I watched her grow up as an entrepreneur my whole life. So I knew it was something I wanted to do. And I actually thought I wanted to start a juice company. Little did I know, it's so much money to buy organic fruits and vegetables at a mass like scale, to actually grow a business. So I let that go. Then I thought I wanted to start a soap bar, soaps for your bodies. I'm all into like organics and natural stuff, whatever. Well, that failed. And the person that I was supposed to be in business with, she dropped off the face of the earth. So I was left by myself. And it was the previous Christmas, my previous employer actually had bought me a popcorn machine. And I had been sampling with different flavors and such. And long story short, I ended up launching a business at a local food house in town called Easton Market. They did a Foodpreneur series, which basically taught you how to launch a business from scratch and then actually take it to market. And I did it there and I started my own popcorn company. So it's called Project Pop and it's organic kettle corn. And the reason I made it is because, I mean, I love popcorn. Most people do, some people don't. But I wanted to create a dish that would make people think and rethink what and why they eat. So all too often we put things in our body and we can't read the labels or just because it tastes good, but we don't know if it's beneficial or detrimental because we don't want to do research. As people, sometimes we're lazy and we just want to eat. So even if you're lazy, I want to serve popcorn to people, but still have it be, healthier with healthier ingredients. So yeah, that's where the foodpreneur comes out. And then now, as I mentioned recently, Good Through Food, that's my most recent project. And that started, I launched in September.
Okay, so you mentioned foodpreneur, like that led into your initiative, which is Good Through Food. The title is quite simple. That being said, I'm a firm believer in not overlooking the obvious. How
Mm-hmm.
did the title come about? I guess what is Good Through Food's first project, and how do you want
Sure.
to introduce that to the world?
Yeah, the name kind of just came to me. Honestly, it wasn't something that I like sat down and like did a crazy brainstorm with different words. It literally just came to me. I was like, we're gonna do good through food. And I was like, oh, that's it. Very simple. I wish I had like some legit story, but that's it. So in August of 2016, 7.1 trillion gallons of water dropped in the state of Louisiana. And it wasn't throughout the
Mhm.
entire state, but in very concentrated areas. So of course that leads to massive flooding and destruction in neighborhoods and death and everything else you could imagine if there was like a massive flood in your neighborhood, right? So as I'm sitting at my job watching a Facebook Live stream of some I don't even think they were police officers. I think they were just people out there with like a newscast or they were recording it. And they caught a woman just in time as her car was sinking under the water. And I'm watching this video, watching this lady almost die, but then be saved. Then she started screaming for her dog. And I'm like, really, lady, the dog? But I thought if I had a dog, I want to save my puppy too. So they saved the puppy. And I'm like, wow, I'm sitting in the comfort of my office right now, laid back, Facebook Live, just got my coffee. Life is good. And then just what, a few states away, there's somebody who's like about to die, but then she is pulled out of her car by some people who are like literally rolling themselves on like some makeshift raft. I'm like, man, like these people need help. Like this, it's not enough just to say like, okay, let's pray for them. Like there needs to be like corresponding action. So I posted on a really popular food group in Orlando on Facebook where we all talk. It's like a forum. And I said, hey, like some local restaurants should get together and sell some Louisiana inspired dishes and send back the proceeds. Well, I think maybe like a few people wrote like, that's a great idea. And I got a few likes. And I went home a little discouraged because as I'm watching these people, it became really heavy to me, heavy on my heart. I'm like, these people need help. And I'm always looking for people to help. So it just seemed like something I needed to be a part of. And as you mentioned that nudge, I was driving, I was talking to God about it, and he's like, well, why don't you do something? And I was like, oh, true. I guess I can. So I did.
Light bulb.
I was like, okay, I guess. On top of everything else I have going on, I decided to do it, and I got a conviction about it. So even in like the days where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, I like forcefully like put it out there. Like I posted on Facebook that I was doing it, and you know, that's good peer pressure. You post something on Facebook, it becomes a little bit official. You know what I mean? Like people are watching and waiting to see what is this project Major's talking about. So when I posted it on there, I was like, all right, let's do it. So I built out the website, and I enlisted a friend to help design a logo for me. And within about 72 hours, the business was born. And I started outreach to all the chefs that I know in town. And I got pretty decent feedback on it. But candidly speaking, I thought I was going to have like a massive amount of restaurants getting on board. But the month of October is hard. You know, you've got breast cancer awareness, and then every other charity that wants to do something in the month of October. So as it relates to trying to get partners, I mean, I found myself competing against everything under the sun. But I got 5 restaurants to participate, and they are all doing Louisiana-inspired dishes and either giving a portion of the proceeds or all the proceeds back to the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, which is a cool charity out in Louisiana that helps people with relief efforts or whatever needs they have, you know, on the daily basis. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, and what's been the response so far?
It's been really legit. Like, I'm thankful that I didn't give up when I wanted to. You know, whenever you do something good, there's always bouts of like doubt. Like, am I supposed to do this? Do I have time to do this? Because it took a lot of time and energy, right? Just to launch this so quickly, because I wish I could have done it in August, right? It's October. But the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, these are when months after something happens is when people really need to start activating initiatives, because once the news stops covering stuff, people forget about it. You know, people aren't really checking for Zika anymore. I mean, it's still prevalent, right? But because of the elections, right? Everybody's talking about the elections and everything else that's going on, but the same thing that was plaguing cities all throughout America and had people scared, we're not talking about it anymore. Zika didn't go away, but the news coverage did, right? So it's the same thing for these people in Louisiana. They already didn't get enough coverage because of the Olympics, which is a whole ordeal, and the elections. And now on top of that, you've also had the issues in Haiti, you know, issues now here in the state of Florida, and everywhere in between. And I believe just because the news isn't covering doesn't mean people don't matter. So to answer your question, the response has been extremely great. Got a lot of news coverage, some TV segments, and just a lot of the local like news community showing up and showing support. Ton of views on the video that we posted on Facebook. So it's been awesome. I couldn't ask for more. I hope and pray that people are going out and buying the dishes so that we can send a good amount of money back. But I'll honestly be thankful for whatever we raise, because, you know, it's new and I do not despise the days of small beginnings. So I'm good with whatever happens from here on out.
Oh man, props to you for following that. Like that is a certain level of fearlessness that many don't seek to attain. And even if they do, they may not necessarily take that initial step. because everything starts from humble beginnings, you know, everything starts from somewhere. So
Right.
that being said, for those of us who are not necessarily in Orlando, if we want to contribute, what can we do?
They can go to the Baton Rouge Area Foundation website, which is braf.org, and donate. You can simply just, pay online, and then follow us, on Good Through Food, which on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I plan on doing some other cool initiatives in the months to come. So this is the end of it, and I'm hopeful that, as the brand grows, exposure will grow, and it won't just be here in Orlando. It might be in your city or somebody else's. This brand is not bound by city limits. So I hope we can just continue to do more and seek out ways to help people.
Okay. And then moving on from there, those that are in the Central Florida area, what can they do?
Well, you can eat. So we've got 5 restaurants. You've got Tapa Toro, which is this amazing tapas, Spanish-inspired restaurant that's on our drive. And then Taverna Opa, which is a sister concept, which is a Greek restaurant. You've probably been. People dance on tables and
I was about to say
belly
tables.
dances and all that stuff. Yeah. So Tapa Toro, they're actually doing a churro bread pudding. As you know, in Louisiana, bread pudding is huge. So they did like this Spanish take on bread pudding. And then at Taverna Opa, they're doing lucumades, which is basically Greek donuts. It kind of play off like the beignet. So you can go there and order that. There's a place called Colette's Clean Eats in Longwood. So just to show like the reach, which I'm very thankful for, we're like all the way at iDrive and then all the way in Longwood, which if you live in Orlando, that's like a pretty big, wide distance. So even if you live in areas like Sanford or Deltona, you can make the trip to Longwood to help out instead of having to drive all the way to downtown Orlando. So at Colette's Clean Eats, she's doing this legit gumbo that has like shrimp and chicken and andouille sausage. So she's created an awesome gumbo, which is not really a take on Louisiana. It is Louisiana, so I'm happy about that. And then we have Black Rooster Taqueria, which is this awesome Mexican like street fair restaurant in the Mills 50 district. They're doing a PB, which is pork belly Nola taco. So, it's just a play on, New Orleans, and pork is huge in the South. So just playing up on that with some, some fun Cajun spices. And then P is for Pie, which is a bakery in the Audubon district. They're doing their pecan caramel hand pies. And as you know, or you may not know, pecans are huge in Louisiana. Again, it's the South, and this, pecans rule down here. So they're doing some fun takes on it there, and you can get a cup of coffee and a pecan caramel hand pie there for $5. So all the dishes are like crazy affordable. I think all of them are less than $8. So, if somebody wants to go out for lunch or for dinner with friends or whatever, everything is affordable. It's probably within most people's price range if they want to actually go out and have lunch. So I've just been encouraging people, the promotion ends on Monday. So in between now and Monday, if you want to go out for lunch, let this be one of your, let one of the places that we're partnering with be one of the places you eat. So it's really easy.
I'm hungry just listening to you talk about all this, but
you should be, because the dishes are pretty legit.
Oh man, so is there anywhere we can get like photos of these dishes?
Yeah,
so that
you can check my Facebook. Check my Facebook or Instagram. Good Through Food. I've been posting some dishes on there. We did a TV segment on Walsh. I think it was on Tuesday or Monday, and Taverna Opa actually showed how to make the Greek beignets. So we've got a recipe for that. If somebody wants to get a little creative and mix it up in the kitchen, they can do it at home. So yeah, you can check all the information on our website and be able to see the dishes.
That is peace, man. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I must say I am. So definitely check her out. IG, Facebook, whether it be Chauniqua Major or more importantly, Good Through Food, because individuals, they come second to the movements themselves. We're going to promote this as hard as we can and let this be like the first of many steps. Food for thought, food for the soul, and food for your stomach. So we're going to finish this last bit off as we tend to do. I'm establishing the people I know tradition. Failures along the way. You mentioned a few shortcomings on the road of getting to good through food. What are things that you've learned from those, and how has that affected the way that you attack the current project that you have going on?
Okay, let me rewind. I want to make sure I understand your question very clearly so I can answer it correctly. You want to know failures that I've had prior to Good Through Food and how that's impacted how I launch this?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, and I know you heard this before, I'm a strong believer that there is no true failure in life. If you look at it correctly, it's feedback. And I think the biggest feedback that I ever received in life is when you know you want to do something, just do it. Like, you don't always have to have all the ducks in a row. You don't have to know what it looks like, how it's going to turn out. If you just trust and believe that it's going to work, it will. But all too often, I've even been a victim of it. We get lost in our own thoughts and we create our own doubt, and then we become the enemy within ourselves. And a lot of projects in life, and even some things I have on the side, they should be miles and miles and miles and miles from where they should, from where they are right now. But because I was hesitant and didn't trust in myself and didn't believe that it could actually work, I haven't really pursued them as hard as I can, or as hard as I should, really. But with this in particular, I just threw all that to the wayside. I was like, let's just do this. And I did it with like no reputation. I was like, this has nothing to do with me. This is for people. So at first, I'll be honest, when I got I had 2 restaurants on board, and candidly, the restaurant was my friend. So I told her she was participating. I was like, Lord, I can only have 2 restaurants. Like, this is, it's embarrassing. Like, we need more people. So I got caught up in quantity over quality. And I was reminded that, Major, this is not about you. So it doesn't matter if it's huge or if it's small. This is about making an impact and helping people. So remembering your mission and why you got started. It's nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with me. So when I realized that, I was like, all right, I'm going to stick to this, and I'm actually going to launch it, and I'm going to do it and stay committed to it. So probably for a good week, there were nights where I already don't sleep a ton, but I didn't sleep. I sacrificed sleep because I was like, I'm not going to grow weary in launching this project like I have with other things. It's that fear that starts to creep in. You're like, oh, I'm tired. No, keep pushing, keep doing it. It will manifest, but you have to do it. You only have what you do. If you go to sleep at night when you have to launch something in 3 days, it might not be as successful. But for this particular project, unlike others in the past, I stayed committed to it. I pushed and I launched it, and I'm like, wow, this is what happens when you do something, you don't halfway do it, you actually do it. And this one, I did it, and people are showing up out of the woodwork. The response has been amazing. Even just the amount of views on the video that I posted, I thought maybe my friends would look at it. In 24 hours, it had more than 1,000 views, which to me is legit. When normally things you post, maybe they get 40 or 50. You're like, oh, I'm popping today. Well, no, 1,000,
Unless it's something completely outrageous and slightly ignorant, then it'll be 120.
Yes, right. And you're like, oh, this is legit. But the amount of love and support, it's just been amazing. So that food for thought is try not to get lost in your thoughts. If you have an idea and you can do it, and you kind of take root inside yourself that it can succeed, and you don't have doubts, just do it. There are going to be roadblocks along the way. My roadblock was I didn't get the restaurant response that I thought I was going to. I could have given up and said, man, I'm not doing this. Or, my sister, candidly speaking, she called me and told me that there was a possibility that she might have died in between the time I was going to launch this project. So I had to stop what I was doing here in Orlando, fly to Atlanta and take care of her, which pushed the whole project back. But when I got back home, you better believe I got back on doing what I was supposed to do. I didn't let anything that was ahead of me stop me from what I had to do. So just keep your thoughts, positive, and just push forward. and don't put yourself in your own way, because especially if you're trying to do something bigger than yourself, it has nothing to do with you. So it doesn't matter if you feel like doing it that day or if you don't. If it's bigger than you, you don't really matter. So yeah, that's it.
Oh, wow. That was a mouthful, and it really doesn't feel as though it's been almost half an hour. But
Yeah.
Major, I salute you. I'm definitely humble about this conversation. Speaking personally, I definitely know that I received, confirmation and reaffirmation to continue pushing forward towards the goal. I definitely believe that anyone who makes the investment of time to watch this video is going to receive something that is quite similar. Do you have any last words that you want to leave the people with? I mean, you said a mouthful already, but
I know. Well, once you get me going, man, I just keep going.
that's good. I like it. I like the passion. I like the
Nah,
passion. This is
I
what it
mean,
is.
I think the main thing is it's important to really take time to reimagine what your life should look like and what you should be doing. We get all too often comfortable in, the day-to-day life, especially if you live in a city where it's busy, you're on and off the train, or you're in and out of the car, you're going back and forth to work, you're at the gym, you got your bae, whatever it is that consumes all your time. We get comfortable in these regimens and we forget to think about what life could be if we change even a degree, how that 1 degree could ignite something amazing in our lives and for other people. So I just encourage people, take some time on a Saturday, put it in your schedule as like my time, and reimagine, what you want your life to be. Dream big, and include people in giving as a part of like your personal mission statement. Because when you give, you better believe that people will bless you in ways you could never have imagined. So whether it's stopping on the side of the road and giving to that homeless person who may be trying to hustle you, or, calling your mom when you don't call her enough, and just, giving her love when she might need it. I just encourage people to do little things that will change your life and the lives of others, because it will make your life much more rich.
When you commit to an idea, the world will conspire to help you.
This is true, my friend.
Indeed. So, last one. Could speak to Major at age 20.
Yeah.
What would you tell her?
I would tell her, first thing that came to mind, which is really candid, this dude does not matter.
Bars.
This dude does not matter. Get your life. And I would tell her that all your hard work and labor is not in vain. Because at 20, the same grind that you see in me now, I had back then. Like, this is not new. Thankfully, it's not new. The way I use the grind and the passion is different now. But when I was 20, I was finishing up my 9th internship in college and working part-time, and had 2 internships at the time and 5 classes, and I was about to graduate. Like, I was so serious and so determined because I really wanted to set myself up. So I would tell myself, yeah, these dudes don't matter, and stay focused, because as I mentioned before, there'll always be those roadblocks, right? And you get in your own way. There'll also be people, and people who are like so temporary or don't even matter, but we make things or people so much bigger than what they should be. And it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're 20 or 40. We either have people, things, or situations that stop us or hinder us from our greatness. And if you allow that to happen, I mean, you're just as big as the problem. So yeah, that's what I tell myself. This dude doesn't matter. Stay your course, because it's worth it.
That's peace.
Yeah.
Chaniqua, again, thank you so much. And before we sign off, give us
Mm-hmm.
the debrief one more time, all the social media platforms
Yeah.
we can reach you on, because we want to stay abreast of what you're doing.
Awesome. So my personal is Major Creates. I'm on everything. So just follow me. Mostly on Instagram is where I'm like on there the most. But then for my businesses, my popcorn company is Project Pop. And we're mainly on Instagram. So you can follow us at Eat Project Pop. And then for Good Through Food, which is the newest initiative, that is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Good Through Food. So really simple.
All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for your time tonight. We're
Thanks,
going to make sure we
Brian.
plug this as hard as we can.
Alrighty.
And keep moving, man.
Well,
Forward. Always
you
forward.
too. I'll see you in DC.
Bless.
Bye.